Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the Mid South Wrestling Review series for the 20th, I believe, of February 1982. We continue with our Mid South series, which is just awesome. I'm enjoying it greatly. I hope you are as well. And we are moving into interesting times. I notice that when the Mid South stuff is highlighted, I'm having more fun with it than I did the end of World Class, which is a good thing because World Class near the end got really laborious and kind of hard. And I think every promotion probably gets to that point near its end and demise. I know week by week WWE gets to that point for me every week, and I wonder why do I do this? And the answer is because I'm committed to the project overall, the long haul. But needless to say, that's not happening here in Mid South in 1982. Coco Samoa and Bill Ash are your opening contest here. And as is to be suspected, you're not getting a bunch out of this. You're getting some basic stuff. Um, core wrestling, Samoa with some arm drags, arm locks, and the like, takedowns, and quick stuff on Ash. Ash has been and continues to be a decent enhancement talent slash, I guess I'd say lower to mid card guy. Some good groundwork by Samoa. Samoa never really gets off the ground anywhere that I seem to recall, although he's around for quite a number of years throughout the 80s in various territories, but just never really finds a complete home where he's heavily pushed for a consistent span of time. He does power out of some basic stuff, and then we see the Fireman's Carry takeover. Ash staying with him, using some more cheating tactics. I think the inference is that he's the heel in the situation. Martial arts chops and strikes by Samoa here. Might very well have been that there was a plan to push him at some point, just didn't come together. Don't really know. Of course, I'm only up through the end of March in 1982 here, so in my own viewing thus far, and so maybe that's where we are. Big shot by Bill Ash with a forearm, and I remind that single strikes and something like a forearm or a kick can make a difference here. Short knee by Ash, and then he kind of stays on the chin lock. Really basic stuff. Not a match that is going to sell out many tickets, but a perfectly good opening or second match on a house show card, and a perfectly good television match to get a guy like Coco Samoa over, who happens to eventually, hopefully for them, be a babyface that they can do something with down the road. And again, some double chops, and then a big elbow drop, and Samoa goes to the second rope. Notice that moves in Mid South are done from the second rope. Top rope is considered off limits, and a big splash, a la a Jimmy Snuka style maneuver. Then we go to, and that's a win for Coco Samoa. Skandar Akbar with, honestly, a very disorganized promo. He talks about Mike George. He talks about being mistreated by the Ernie Ladd deal. He talks about a lot of stuff there, and nothing really of note. And even the commentator says that he didn't really answer any questions for us. He didn't really do anything for us other than leave us more confused. The Samoans, Ndafa and Sika, still your tag team champions, and they are facing Brian Blair and Frank Monty. Kind of a weird combination for television, but I think I like that too. If a guy is on a win streak and can sign, in theory, a contract even for a tag team championship match, he might take on a partner that's not typical just because he has that opportunity. And I think that's valuable in the storytelling of, hey, this is, Blair, who's been on a winning streak as of late, and that's a pretty big deal. Anyway, Blair with a hammerlock goes over, tries to agitate one of the Samoans. Not exactly the best of maneuvers there, and shoulder tackle, of course, Iskandar Akbar still a big part of his team on the outside, not interfering as of yet. Monty, who really probably doesn't belong in there in this type of match, it has a good showing for himself in terms of arm bars, hammerlocks, and the like. Decent enough stuff. When the bigger babyface moves need to happen, drop kicks, and hope spots in that. They come from Blair. One of the Samoans moves out of the way, and then we get the tag off to Monty. Monty, the weaker member of the team, gets cut off by the Samoans. Samoans hit a Samoan drop, no pun intended, and get the victory. And they're still obviously your tag team champions. We move happily along to Ted DiBiase and Larry Higgins. I like kind of sometimes the fact of having an enhancement match for a guy like DiBiase, who is your North American champion. Again, North American Championship, the most important championship in the Mid-South Territory. Think of it like your WWE Championship today. Although, wait a minute, where in WWE are any of the championships really important? Ha ha ha. Anyway, and, DiBiase obviously has been that champion for quite a while. Some waist lock stuff by Higgins. Higgins gets some ride time. DiBiase with a amateur style takedown and gets some ride time of his own. Beautifully done. Awesome stuff. And the tie up in the ropes. Even a guy like Higgins, who, truthfully, let's be honest, is meant in this role to be an enhancement talent, gets enough offense to where the match looks competitive and like an actual competition. DiBiase gets arm bars. Notice facials cranking up on arm bars, trying to get a submission out of something as basic as an arm bar, making every movement count, facials meaning more. And I mean, to get a minute, 2 minutes out of an arm bar, that's huge. Because think about it, wrestling is a scenario where in theory you want to wrestle as often as you can, provide entertainment and to be able to make more money. And also not get hurt, to be able to go as often as you can for as long as you can, not get hurt. So if you can get 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes without needing to do a major high spot, that's far better for your body and your career longevity. Snapmare takeover, knee drop by DiBiase. DiBiase really deliberate here. It's odd to me that he never, outside of his early career after 87 until probably 96-ish, became a babyface. He did go to WCW, became a babyface manager there, but I think there would have been a role for him as a babyface somewhere along his career after the $1 Million Man. I don't exactly know where. He wins with a figure 4 leg lock, which, odd to me that the North American champion in one promotion and the world champion in that point, NWA/Crockett, shared a finish. Just interesting in that note. Anyway, Bob Roop versus Rick Ferrara. Roop moving kind of up the card a little bit, a little more seen or acknowledged there. Rick Ferrara, an enhancement talent, but a consistent one. So obviously he gets a little more ring time than average. Bill Watts, of course, not going to employ somebody who doesn't have at least some working knowledge of how to be on the mat and make it work. Arm work by Ferrara early. Roop, a bit of a stockier guy, and manages to wrestle his way around. Ferrara controls with hammerlocks and the like. When it comes down to weight and power, Roop always gets himself back. Takes him to hammerlocks and headlocks and the like pretty early. Again, Ferrara comes back around with yet another attempt at some pretty rough stuff. Rolls through and tries to get some ride time, front face lock, hammerlock, and the like. Match is a little, I wouldn't say boring, but certainly slower, and probably if you're not into mat grappling, if you're not into basic wrestling, this match is not for you. Roop comes up and does take a cheap shot here and there. Finally, gets a delayed shoulder breaker, and 1, 2, 3. Bob Roop gets a win. Notice these matches still running about 5 to 6 minutes. They don't need to be marathon matches. They just have good action in them. My contention is that you can still do that in 2020, and I think most independent guys and ladies have forgotten because they're being taught bad habits by watching only what's on television today versus what was there years and years ago. Anyway, JYD and Mr. Olympia in a tag team match with relative, I guess, newcomers, or at least passers through the Grappler and Bob Sweetan. Not a fan of Bob Sweetan. He's been accused of some criminal actions over the years, and also many people that I've spoken with, both privately as well as heard on podcasts and shoot interviews over the years, and firsthand accounts. He's not a very honorable person, so it's unfortunate when I have to acknowledge talent that, quite honestly, I don't think I would speak to as a person, but it happens, and obviously we can't go back in time. Mr. Olympia is a pretty big deal there. Anyway, Olympia and the Grappler start off. Grappler, Len Denton. I'd love to find a good Portland archive. I've never seen much of Portland and would love to see more of it. Big body slam, especially since I'm considering maybe migrating to that part of the country at some point in my life would be a cool thing. Anyway, the Grappler manages to hit a drop kick, tags off to the Junkyard Dog. Dog hits a few headbutts, a few kind of chop block type maneuvers. Dog again back with the headbutts. At this point, Dog is on fire, and tag off there, and we see elbow drops, miscue by the heels, and then we see Olympia stay on. Notice that when Mr. Olympia is in tag team matches, he tends to get the shine, and that I think has more to do with the fact that he is local to the area and seems to want to stay there. I think that's another thing for independent talent to figure out is if you are, obviously you're trying to go national, trying to make as much money as you can, but when you're working for a company, if you're localized and you want to be treated, heavy for a push, and you're working for an independent company that's on the up and come, the more localized you are to the area, the more durable and dependable you are, the easier it'll be. Anyway, we then kind of see the go back. Sweetan comes back in, pairs off with the Dog. Sweetan's not in the match very much. Grappler takes the majority of the match for his team and goes down quite a bit, takes some punches. Dog goes back with some, brawling style tactics. Dog never really a tremendous technical wrestler. I don't think that was his role. I don't think that was what fans would have wanted from him. It's just amazing to me, though, that in a world that now, 2020, emphasizes, all these needless spots, that a guy like the Junkyard Dog could get over with headbutts and a power slam. It's just amazing to me. Mr. Olympia tries to go for the sleeper tag off to Bob Sweetan, who sneaks a spot or two on his opponent here, and then we see Mr. Olympia try for the sleeper hold and hits a snapmare to Sweetan, and again Olympia gets struck from the outside by the Grappler. Grappler comes in. Not sure if it's illegally or not. I didn't see the tag, but Dog comes in to try and avenge all that. Dog hits a power slam. And 1, 2, 3. Either there wasn't a tag or the ref just counted the illegal man. Doesn't really matter because the Dog and Olympia are your victors here in this particular contest. And we go again. Back to various, another match. This time, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, returning to the area. And Ed Wiskowski is his opponent for the moment. With Wiskowski eventually becoming Colonel De Beers. And again, Wiskowski and Rhodes with the big flowery robe. I've learned over the last little while watching this type of match with Dusty Rhodes. I'm not a Dusty Rhodes fan in the ring. I think he's, I don't enjoy him, but as a promo, as a talent, as a babyface, I think he's great. He's just not my style in the ring. Works the leg of, in this case, Ed Wiskowski for a bit. Drops the elbow. Of course, by this point, I think he's already been the world champion one time. And obviously, Dusty really big in Florida, really big in Georgia. Later, obviously, one of the biggest things in Crockett Promotions, WCW, for several years. But by this point, Dusty, a regional talent, De Beers / Wiskowski manages to hit a knee into the buckle, and Dusty goes right back to work for the Leg Grapevine. Gets several minutes out of that Leg Grapevine. Dusty, to me, a better talker than wrestler at any point in his career, but that's just a matter of personal preference. And also, I have seen with the right heel, who's willing to bump around for Dusty be a lot more enjoyable, like with a Tully Blanchard or Ric Flair. Maybe it's the particular dancing partner, so to speak, that he has in the world, the Mid-South area that I'm not really a fan of. I don't really know, but anyway, that is there. Dusty comes up, hits a few bionic elbows and some punches. Obviously, Dusty not going to take a terrible loss or major beating in the area, and Dusty obviously gets a victory with the dropping of the elbow. 1, 2, 3, Paul Orndorff and Tony Torres is your final match of the day. And Orndorff again continues to be, or is, the very close to the number one contender for Ted DiBiase's North American Championship. That becomes even more useful in the month of March. So we're close to that coming to a head in a lot of different ways. But here, Orndorff kind of in a bit of a tune-up match. He's got probably about, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes before they go off the air, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. Orndorff, though, obviously doesn't need a lot of television time because he's over as a character. And we see him doing some collar over tie-up stuff, real basic stuff, top wrist lock. And Orndorff, one thing that he does, his facial expressions and reactions, the explosive reactions of Orndorff, I think, is something for any heel to watch in terms of just reacting, and that body slam and then kicks at his opponent pretty simply. Orndorff looking a little straggly, getting the beginnings of a shadow of a beard. He actually goes full beard in the next couple of weeks here, but drops the knee. And then we see Orndorff get a momentary short fall almost before kind of, bringing his opponent back up. And then Orndorff, with a snapmare takeover, works over the leg, uses the ropes, and just jumps on the knee and leg of his opponent there. And the figure four by Orndorff. DiBiase using the same hold, so kind of the battle of the figure four here, and Orndorff obviously gets a submission victory. As we close the program here on Mid-South this week, we'll be back with more right after this.